All right, guys, here's a quick little video help for your exercise, your homework here. Now, we have two different functions. We have the f function, f of x, which is this 3x minus 2, and we have a g sub x function. So if our problem says f, then we're using the f of x function. So remember, what's inside the parentheses, I'm going to change my font here real quick, represents the x value. I'm going to do that in red. Apologize, because that's the f function. This basically means I'm going to plug in, x is going to equal 2. I'm going to plug into where the x is. So when we rewrite this, we're going to say 3 parentheses. Whenever we substitute or plug in a value, we have to use parentheses. So 3 parentheses, 2, then minus 2. And then we're going to do order of operations. We do multiplication before we do subtraction. So we're multiplying 3 times 2, that's 6. And then we're doing, sorry about that, minus 2. And then this comes out to be 4. So in here, because we have values inside the parentheses, that's our x, and we just plug them in. Now for the g sub x, because we have x squared, I'm just going to show parentheses, negative 3 inside of that parentheses, and then square it, and then plus 3. Order of operations tells us that we have to do the exponent first. A negative 3 squared is actually 9, and now we're doing 9 plus 3, so this answer was 12. Okay. Now, it did say you can use the calculator shortcut to help you. So I know you don't have this calculator at home, all right? But you can, if you have your phone and you look for the app Calculator 84, it's a version of this calculator for free, okay? But just to kind of recap, I'm actually gonna turn this one off. You'll probably see that that cursor is not on, but this one is, just so we can recap what to do. So actually, let me just clear them all. All right, so I'm gonna clear this out as well so you can see mine. This is just a reminder of what buttons I pushed down here. So we had g sub x, which is x squared. So remember, the x is next to the alpha button right here where it says the x, t, theta, n. So we push that. X squared is over here by the 7, x squared. And then we have plus 3. And to look at the values of this function or this equation, you have to hit second graph. Okay. So on problem F, they want us to look at 2 equations. The g sub x equation, so that was the first one. I'm just going to come down here. And the f of x. The f of x was 3x minus 2. And then we're going to do second graph. And want the values when the x is actually 3. So the g sub x is 12. And the f of x is 7. So what we're really doing here is I'm just going to substitute. Let me get a different color, sorry. I'm going to substitute my g sub 3. This one was 12 plus my f of x, this one was 7. Add them together. My answer is 19. Now, I do want to recap for you real quick what to do if you did not have the calculator we use or the cell phone app, but you do have a laptop. So if you were to go to, I'll go back one. If you just search Texas Desmos, okay, and then pick this first graphing calculator Texas version. It should say Texas version. It should be green here. So I could put my equation in here in this line, like I'm doing y equals, let's say the x squared. So x, and to the second part, I can do shift 6, or I can come down here and it says right here, show keypad, and I could put an exponent right there, a to the second, and then we're doing plus 3. So I'm just, oops, that equals shift plus 3. So whenever you type here, it'll always graph it over here to the right. So if I want a table of values, okay, then I have to hit this plus sign and choose table. Now the problem right now is our table has x1 and y1. I don't have that in this equation, so I have to put the subscript 1, and I'll have to put the subscript 1 there as well. This is empty list because I have no values in here. So if I put the 3, there is the value for y, for our function. Okay. So I could type in also, because we got the answer 312. Remember, our function, oops, I'm in parentheses. Our function notation is like y, and the x, the input is the x. So we can write this as an order pair, x comma 12. And it's not showing, but right now, if I zoom in, there's that point right there. And I can click on it, and there it matches. I can even click this box to label it, and it will label. And I can tell it, let's say I want to label it A. And then there's a capital A. But I can click on the actual point, or take the label off, click on the actual point, take it off, and I can drag. So that's just another way to see what we're doing. I like to click on the point so I can see the actual order pair. So that's just another thing we can do. So I want to use the Texas Desmos calculator to help you with the 2 graphs at the bottom, because you're going to need to generate a table, and you're going to need to fill in the table to plot your points. So I'm going to jump. I'll go back to these, but I want to jump to these graphs. So what we should remember is that we can replace the function notation or whatever letter there is with the y. Okay. So I'm going to start with example 2. Instead of having this g sub x, I'm just going to do y equals, and then I'm doing the square root of x. So this is probably a new symbol maybe for some of you, the radical symbol. And I'm going to talk about how to put that in the calculator on the TI. So let me clear these out. To do that on our regular calculator, this is x squared. To do the radical is the inverse of that, the opposite. And I think you see it in blue right here. So you have to hit the second button, then this x squared button, and then you can put the x in there. And then I could go second graph to fill in our table values, because we're doing 4, 2, 1. So we do have some decimals here that we're going to round. So on, I'm gonna get rid of this point, so I'm just gonna X this out. So on our Texas Desmos, we need to do the square root. Okay. So I have to do the radical symbol, and I have to look at the keyboard and come down here and do this x squared. Then we're going to type in x, and then we're doing the subscript 1. Okay. So that it matches. What we have here has to match this table right here. So we don't really need 3. The value we needed was 4. Then I can come down and put in 2. Then arrow down, put in our 1. Arrow down, put in our 0. And then let's see what happens here when you get to a -1. It says undefined, so it doesn't exist. Okay. So these are the points we want to actually graph. We want to graph, and there they are. I'm glad we finally got to it. Here it is. That's what I wanted to see. See, they've plot the points that we had in this table in the graph for us. So the Texas Desmos at times is way more powerful and has a lot of more capabilities than our handheld calculator. But this is what we're plotting and we're graphing. And if you look on the 2, because it's 1.4, it's close to the 2. So let me just go back to where we were supposed to fill this in. So we know our 4, square root of 4 was 2. This was a decimal, 1.41, I think 42. Okay, you can round it. This one was 1, this one was 0, this was undefined. Okay, so we're plotting these points. We go to 4, we go up, over to the right 4 on the x-axis, up 2. We plot that point. 2 and 1.4, so that's a little bit less than halfway right there, sorry. And then we have 1, 1, and then we have 0. Okay, dang, why does it keep doing that? Sorry, I apologize that. So Yeah, so if we were to graph this, I'm just going to show you here just to make it faster. It's like a little curve, all right? And this is all I want us to do, is to practice getting to our points. So either using the Desmos, which I'm going to go over some more in class. We're going to always start building off of this. And hopefully that will help you finish your homework. Now you do have some graphs that you have to interpret and read. Remember, what's inside the parentheses is x. So this output is saying f, x, and then the function of x. Oops, I'm gonna put this one over here. X comma f of x. This one would be x comma g sub x. Okay. So all we're doing is we're reading off the graph here when x is 1. This horizontal is the x-axis. Here's 1. I'm plotting the point. This point is closed. This one is open. Open does not exist. Only the closed one. So this point is the order pair 1, comma 1. So g sub x, g sub 1 equals 1. Okay. So you need to actually put physical points. So g sub 3, there's 2, here's 3. I have to come down and touch that line. And it's at that point. I'll make this black maybe. This point is 2, comma, negative 3. So g sub 2 is negative 3. Hopefully that will remind you what to do. On our last one, negative 5. So I go over here. Here's where negative 5 is. And then there's no graph shown. There's nothing for me to plot as a point. So it does not exist on this graph. It exists somewhere if I could zoom out, but I can't see it physically here. So refer to your notes. Be ready to ask questions. We're going to continue using these skills on your Desmos activity. It does say that at the very bottom here. You're going to go to, not Desmos, sorry. You're going to use Desmos on the progress learning. Sorry about that. So I'm going to model that in class with you as well to make sure you understand how to use the Desmos calculator, which is it's just like this, but it's just in a smaller window. So I just want you to make sure you know how to use the different features. And we will practice that in class, but the progress learning will be a separate grade. Okay, I'm just going to give you a heads up on that. All right, so hopefully this will help you get through your homework. And if you're still stuck, we need to be asking questions, or let's come to tutorials on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thank you.